So part 2. Now that I have my box, it's gridded off, I've identified my surface faces, the front, the left, the top, that goes along with this isometric. I'm now going to identify my interior faces and make sure that I delineate those. You can pick pretty much anywhere to start, but I like to start with this corner that's inside. So if I look at this point, which we know is here, and I move 1 unit to the left, then I should intersect with a vertical line that drops straight down from this point on the top, as well as with a line that moves back in depth from this point. So those 3 lines intersecting will tell me where things are located for that corner. Otherwise, I can't just assume how far 1 unit is from the left. What I can do is understand that this is going to be a horizontal line on my 1-point perspective because it is an edge that moves in width. So I'll come in here and try to draw as best as possible. Probably going to be easier if I do it this way. A horizontal line moving from the first unit back in depth on the left side face. I'm going to draw it so that it for sure is long enough, crossing past this first unit on the surface of the box, knowing that that's definitely going to be long enough. Then I can draw from this 1-point unit all the way back to the vanishing point and see where it intersects. And if I set up my box and grid system well, I should find that this point is fairly close to being, just like this one, right below this point on the top. So if this corner is here, then this point should be right about here. Now, it's really hard to determine exactly where that is because of the angle at which this unit line is cutting through or past this. So you do get a little bit of fluctuation here with accuracy, but you want to try and be as accurate as possible. And I find that if I go vertical, it does work out relatively well. Now notice that all 3 of those lines are in fact construction. Nothing has been delineated yet. I know now where this line exists and where this line exists, where these edges exist, and I know where they start and stop, so I can delineate them. The vertical line, however, this edge, I can't delineate yet until I know where this one comes into play. Now, if I drop this line in from the front all the way back to the vanishing point, then I'll know where this line stops. I can delineate these 3 edges and have this face created, and I'm on my way to creating this interior front face. So let's do that. They intersect here, and I should find that that point is 1 unit over from this point on the left. Now I could double check that, and I could drop that line in to help me out with creating this edge as well. Let's see how accurate that is. 1, 2 units up. I'm going to be careful here. 1, 2 units up is right here. If I go truly horizontal, let's do it this way. So I'm looking back here to make sure that this line or that edge of my protractor is parallel with the closest line to it. And when I do that, I find that these 2 points do line up. And I'll draw that line over as a construction line. So now what I find is that I can delineate a few things. This edge, and now this one, so that I have this left side face that's interior. And I can start to find where this line is. Let's go ahead and do some delineation so that things don't get too busy. Alright, so this line that I drew in as a construction line should represent for me that I have a horizontal line representing where this point would come out and intersect with the left side, but also that point is where this edge starts. Where it stops is when this line drops straight down from the top face. I could also think about the fact that there could be a line running through here, again as a construction line, that would intersect that point. Now, it's a little bit tougher to think about. I have 2 units over in width, and then if I go up 2 units, that's where that line would extend out toward the front. Now you can use that as a way to double check your work, but I'll start by dropping a construction line straight down from this point on the top face, which is here. It's important that this is vertical and coming right off of that corner as best as possible. I think this is right about where I would want it to be. Nice and light. And let's see if that intersects at the correct place. And then from here all the way back to my vanishing point should cause it to go through that intersection. And it does. So I've set up a fairly well-drawn, well-spaced grid system and box so far. I can delineate now this edge and finishing off that face by delineating this edge. I now have the left, the front, the top surface faces, and a left interior and a front interior face. So these, this, and these are all finished. This is what's left, this funny looking L shape. Now what's important here is that I know there's going to be an edge moving in depth that starts from this point. That's 4 units over in width and 2 units in height. 4 units in width, 2 units in height is here. Since it moves in depth, I take it all the way back to the vanishing point. And I should find that where this line, which is moving in width, so it will be horizontal, where it intersects is also where I can take 2 units up and 4 units over in width and go to the back face. Now that would mean that if I went all the way up to this corner and then all the way back, it should be 1 unit, just like this one is, higher than this point. So I can come to here and drop straight down. I can also find that this edge carries all the way out over to here. Remember, it's 2 units up and all the way to the back. All the way to the back and 2 units up. So this point and this point, those should intersect at the same spot on this line moving back in depth. Drop a line straight down as best as I can. Probably going to be best if I do this one upside down. Try to make it as vertical as possible. So I think that intersection should be right about there. Right about there. And now let's try to do this horizontal line. You'll notice that I am just slightly off. It intersected here, whereas the vertical line intersected there. It's pretty close. It could be that my line horizontally was not in the right place. It could be that my line dropping down vertically was not in the right place. So in checking it out, I find that there's something that is slightly off. It could be that I didn't pick the best position here, which is most likely the case, or it could be that I didn't drop truly a vertical line straight down. I go back and reference these two things, and I find that I do feel this is the correct corner, and that this appears to be pretty vertical. It's parallel to this vertical line over here, and this is set up on the perpendicular. Perhaps I came in just a little too high on this edge, and if I dropped it down just a touch, let's see, how does that look if I line those 2 points up? Do I like that? Nah, dropping it down didn't do it for me. Maybe coming back up would do it for me. And let's see. Yeah, that would work. Now I like that edge better, and that is going to be an important edge for me. That will identify where the back edge right here, this little bit that I see, should fall. So I'll delineate that. And then this. Now I personally prefer to go over these with a pen so that I can then go back and erase things pretty easily before I tonal shade. And this is completely up to you. Make sure my pen's working. If you do this, do make sure that you don't make a mistake, because you can't erase the pen. And make sure that you haven't previously made a mistake and your lines are in the wrong place. You'll notice that I did all my vertical lines first. Now I'll go in and do all my horizontal line work and then my depth line work. There's the top face. Horizontal line work for this face. And since there's only two more edges here and there, then I can just finish it off with a few depth lines, like so, and so. So at this point, I can come in, make sure that my ink is nice and dry, missed a couple of edges. Always double check that. I wouldn't want to accidentally erase these. Oh, missed one here too. And this one. Alright, so I could come in now and erase all these. I'm not worrying too much about the object lines that I've drawn, but making sure they stay in place permanently by having the ink on them. This will make the object pop out just a little bit.